Let's go, Phil. Come on. Go on. Right there. Go on, DJ.
LIV Golf was in everyone's mouths last week, whether for good reasons, bad reasons. I know a lot of you are going to be opinionated one way or another, strongly disagree, strongly agree. I imagine there was a lot of golfers, or non-golfers I should say, going, what the hell is LIV Golf? Now, I've not been paid to make this video. Obviously got free tickets. I took Dad, as you saw at the start there. It was his birthday. I said, would you like to go to the golf with me? And with the two young ones, we do spend a lot of time together, but very rarely do we have a day out. So I said, I'll drive, you have a few beers, and let's go and enjoy watching some golf. Because in the UK, ironically, we don't see that much golf. We obviously have Wentworth, which is quite similar in terms of distance to myself. This is only an hour away, so it was kind of a given that I was going. Richard Bland here, by the way, sporting the M2 2016 head, which kind of won me over. He was one of my favourite players of the day. You'll see a great drive of him later, as well as there's another guy. I mean, he's been doing very well this year. And as I say, we don't see much live golf in the UK when it comes to obviously the Open, that's it, and then obviously British Masters and Wentworth, and that's about all we have. So for me, it's quite ironic because normally all the players, like I've never seen McIlroy hit a golf ball, for example, all the big guys, I never see actually hit a ball because the money's in America. And now, ironically, money was definitely the hot topic. And I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on the coverage, what you thought. One of the big differences, and this is obviously a selfish difference, as I was able to film the entire tournament. It almost felt taboo. I felt like I shouldn't be doing it. It felt wrong. PGA Tour, European Tour, you're able to film, I believe, on the practice days where you are with the European Tour, but strictly forbidden on tournament days. And there was lots of people taking videos and photos. And that's the one big thing through this whole event, which I think in terms of marketing, I think they were slow to set off with, because I didn't even know this event was happening 3 weeks ago. Their Instagram account, I think, only had 2,000 followers 4 days before the event was to kick off. But you can imagine the mass of people taking videos, photos, and tagging that they were there. So in terms of marketing, one big difference is the amount of social media awareness that this tournament was able to do in such a short space of time. Don't get me wrong, there was lots of money being poured into this event. Very well run, I would say, as the first event. Now, there are a few things, I think, in terms of the coverage, personally, I thought it was very good. Obviously, a lot of people highlighted the noise of the score leaderboard. Sam's Horsfield here, absolute ripper. He's my favourite player of the tournament. The guy can absolutely stripe it. But the coverage, I thought, was actually really good, action-packed. A lot of Americans I saw, no ads, which is obviously a big thing. We don't really have ads here in the UK when we watch Sky Sports in terms of golf, but it was free and it was on YouTube. And I have no idea how the technology works in terms of streaming YouTube. And obviously the quality wasn't as good as you would see in a normal TV coverage, but they are streaming it live onto YouTube. And it was a bit different. And I think that's the whole thing I took away from this event. Whether you agree or disagree, indifferent, whatever it might be, it's definitely something different. And there was a lot newer golfers, I would say. It wasn't my typical, when I go to Wentworth, I think the crowd's a lot older, if that makes sense. So there's a lot more newer people. And don't get me wrong, we've had lockdown, so it's a bit different. We've had a lot more people take up the game, so there's no wonder we've got new crowds. But in terms of the people there, it was very much a relaxed atmosphere. And to be honest, looking through all the bits from the mini golf to the challenges, the music, there was a concert every night. It was definitely catered not just for golf, but more entertainment. Obviously, not stuck, but if you've ever watched live golf, it's very difficult to actually get ahead of a few groups. Now, I obviously want to see DJ film Sam hit balls, because obviously I've never seen them hit a golf ball before, and they absolutely flushed it, and it was great to see. But it's very difficult to see other golfers when you play this format, and it doesn't look that busy, but it's because the shotgun start for me makes a massive element in this. These were the beers of the day that we had. I thought food and drink was quite good. There was a lot of different caterers Normally it's just one for all, but actually I think they had independent caterers there. But shotgun start is a difficult one because you might have one favourite player on the first, and then you might have your other favourite player on the ninth. And typically with a normal event, you'll have players teeing off at 7 o'clock in the morning all the way up to 2 in the afternoon. So most people kind of stagger, like, oh, I'll go there because I want to see this person, or I'll go in the afternoon. And you normally typically always see it. They'll have big names in the afternoon and big names in the morning, so that obviously they can filter it out, maybe spread out the crowds a bit, maybe a tiny bit like that. But this event was completely different in terms of, right, who do I want to go and see? And you have to basically make a choice. Am I going to go and see DJ and Phil, or am I going to go and see Lee Westwood and Ian Poulter? Am I going to go and try and see Sergio? All the other names on the roster, and as we've seen over the weekend, a few more names are being added as well to the roster. Centurion Club itself, I thought looked fantastic, but again, it was a very interesting layout because you basically had to make a decision. If you're at one end of the golf course, that's it. You are at the other end of the golf course, and it was a very long walk back. The stands, however, I thought was very interesting. Typically, again, I haven't been to many events, but I went to Wentworth. Normally you have to book seats. I think there's a few free seats here and there, but typically you have to book seats, and that's basically you done. You're now sitting there for the rest of the tournament. There's a lot of pop-up free stands where if there wasn't many people there, and this was the Friday, it was sold out on the Saturday, so I wasn't quite sure what it's like on the Saturday. But you could easily get a seat in most places, and obviously I'll show you where me and Dad perched on the first in a minute. Again, the non-featured names, let's say not the top 5 big names, it was very easy to get up close and personal with the players, walking between tees, seeing them how they hit their golf shots, and let's be honest, all these golfers are going to rip it and stripe it, whatever you want to call them, whether they're towards the end of their career or they're starting their career. There was a lot of good golf on show, and typically to see these players, for example, if I was to see Phil or if I was to see Dustin in this country, it would always be a major and you'll be 8 people deep. So very rarely you would actually be able to see any of the golf ball. Martin Keimer here hit the best shot of the day. After his drive, obviously it wasn't the best. He hit on another hole. He then hit it over the trees here to about 12 foot, and it was rather incredible, I'm not going to lie. Short game always impresses me when it comes to these events. I play with pros a lot, and a lot of them can hit the drive just as far as these guys, but when it comes to flighting the ball, it was incredibly windy all weekend, which is why I think the scores were the way they were. This is us on the first. But the short game always impresses me when I watch these boys. It's incredible what they can do with the wedge. So then we perched on the first, and as you see, we had this nice little free seating. We had the TV to the right of us, and the first tee on the left here. And it's quite an interesting one. Again, it's action-packed. I think most people would watch 6 hours of golf and then go home, but everyone starts at the same time and then obviously finishes at the same time, which is probably why the end evening entertainment was actually so busy, because most of the people that get there at 8 in the morning are ready to go home by like 3-4 o'clock because they've basically walked 36 holes. Overall, I thought it was interesting in terms of the coverage. Obviously, it had a lot of drama going through the week. It'd be very interesting to see how this tournament itself settles. And as I say, I don't think it's definitely a direct competition with the big boys on tour, but I don't think that's what it's there for. I think it's there to be an added bonus. And to be honest, I had a great day with my dad, spending it the day before his birthday, watching some good golf. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Catch you in a bit.